the FBI's most dangerous undercover operation. He was deep undercover, surrounded by mobsters, terrorists, and arms dealers. At any moment, if they discovered who he really was, he'd be dead, but he wasn't. Just infiltrating a gang. He was walking into one of the largest domestic terrorism plots in U.S. history. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Secret Agents Exposed. Today, we dive into a story so wild, so shocking, so interesting you wouldn't believe it's true. Let's start. This is the story of Operation Patriot Conspiracy, also known as PATCON, the FBI's most dangerous and controversial undercover operation ever conducted on American soil. The militia rises. The year is 1990. America is on edge. The Cold War is over, but a new enemy is rising, not overseas but from within. Anti-government sentiment is boiling. Ruby Ridge has just happened. Waco is months away. Out of the ashes, a movement is forming. Right-wing militias armed to the teeth, paranoid and ready for war. They believe the U.S. government is planning a new world order. Some even claim the president is a puppet, and they are training, not for survival, but for revolution. The FBI knows something must be done, so they go deep undercover. Enter PATCON. PATCON, short for Patriot Conspiracy, was launched in the early 1990s by the FBI's Domestic Terrorism Unit. The mission? Infiltrate, monitor, and disrupt extremist militia groups inside the U.S. They weren't targeting average gun owners or veterans. They were going after groups openly calling for armed overthrow of the government. To do it, they created deep cover FBI agents complete with fake identities, criminal records, and radical backstories. One of the most famous agents, John Matthews, a former military man turned FBI asset, he was tasked with penetrating groups like the Aryan Nations, the Ku Klux Klan, and Christian identity cells. And what he uncovered was terrifying. What they found inside the compounds and militia meetings, FBI informants found hit lists of judges and politicians, plans to bomb federal buildings, stockpiles of illegal weapons, blueprints for chemical weapons, and even dirty bombs. One group even bragged they had surface-to-air missiles and were ready to shoot down a federal chopper. They weren't just talking, they were training, plotting, and recruiting. One informant recorded a leader saying, "We're not talking protests, we're talking blood." But the FBI had a problem. If they intervened too early, they'd spook the entire network. If they waited too long, people could die. The agents had to walk the razor's edge too deep to get out. Undercover agents began living double lives. They'd spend months inside compounds attending Bible studies that were really weapons workshops, training in paramilitary drills, sitting next to men who had already killed in the name of their cause. One agent was so embedded he became second in command of a militia unit without anyone realizing he worked for the government. But it came at a cost. Agents feared for their families. They carried backup weapons at all times. Some developed PTSD from the stress. The deeper they went, the more violent the plots became, until one day, a recording changed everything. The murder plan. In 1994, a militia leader laid out his plan to kill a federal judge who had ruled against one of their members. He gave details: the judge's route to work, where his children went to school, and how they'd use a car bomb. The agent got it all on tape. The FBI had nitrogen monoxide choice. They moved in. Raids were launched across several states. Explosives, illegal firearms, and cyanide gas canisters were recovered. Some suspects disappeared, others were arrested quietly. But what shocked many was this: most Americans never even heard about it because much of PATCON remained classified for decades. The Oklahoma City connection. On April 19, 1995, Timothy McVeigh bombed the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City. 168 people were killed. It was the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history. McVeigh was a Gulf War veteran who had been radicalized by militia propaganda. And here's where things get murky. Some of the same groups targeted in PATCON, the same compounds, the same training camps, were connected to McVeigh's travels and associations. Did the FBI miss the warning signs? Or did going deep undercover keep something even worse from happening? The answer remains classified. Why PATCON still matters. Most of the files on PATCON are still redacted or sealed. Whistleblowers like John Matthews have only scratched the surface of what the operation uncovered. But one thing is clear: the U.S. government infiltrated its own citizens using some of the most aggressive tactics in FBI history. Some call it necessary, others call it unconstitutional, and some fear that similar operations may be happening right now, just under different names, because domestic extremism didn't end in the 1990s. If anything, it's grown, and the question remains: how far should law enforcement go to stop those who want to burn the system down? Operation PATCON was buried under layers of secrecy, but its story is more relevant than ever. A tale of radical ideology, deadly conspiracies, and the dangerous game of going undercover too deep to ever come back. If you want more real-life spy stories, hidden ops, and declassified drama, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and tell us, should the FBI have gone even further, or did they cross a line that should never be crossed? Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware, and remember, not all wars are fought overseas. See you in the next video with unique story.